reform that I've embarked upon since I took over in Nigeria has been very impactful. I can beat my chest for that. It was initially painful, but today the result is blossoming. It's getting clearer to the people. We have more money to the economy, no more corruption. We have the governor of Central Bank here. You don't have to know him before you get the foreign exchange that you need. The speculators are out in our currency market.
Barrister, Bola Tinubu said that the result, the economic result, his economic policy, the result has been very impactful. That's the word he used, impactful. And secondly, that there is no more corruption.
I agree with him when he used the word impactful, but in a negative sense, not in the way he's talking about.
There is no more corruption. That
is
everything is
absolute
working well.
rubbish.
This man is a pathological liar. Barrister, what's your thought on this crazy stuff?
That is absolute rubbish. In fact, that is why Sowore is being prosecuted right now. Because he went out, Tinubu went outside the country to go and spew this rubbish.
That was in Brazil.
That there's no corruption. And Sowore replied immediately on X. And they have been pressurizing him to remove his statements against Tinubu. The DSS, they have come after him. They have threatened to shut down X. The government has written to X and Facebook that they should take down the statements of Sowore and others on this issue. Look, truly, the reforms, so-called reforms, are very impactful, but they have impacted Nigerians negatively, as negative as they can. And his statement that we are seeing the light is absolute rubbish. Nothing has improved. The lifestyle of Nigerians have not improved. Their income has not improved. Their way of life has not improved. He should just point out one thing that has improved in the welfare of Nigerians. One aspect. Is it the transportation? Is it the foodstuff? Is it the what? That has improved.
Let me play the devil's advocate right now. Do you think that there is a possibility that Tinubu is not actually watches, not the type that watches the news or reads or watches the news? That is one. That probably the people around him are actually feeding him with false narrative, or completely opposite of what is really happening on the ground. Because if you remember, Buhari was actually the person that was the type. I don't know if you noticed that Buhari never read newspapers. He wasn't the type that believes in reading or watching the news. He was basically being fed with what his subordinates, his staff actually told him, a sort of. So, do you think this is the same scenario playing out here, or that Tinubu is deliberately or intentionally being a pathological liar?
He is following the playbook of Buhari, because you will see during Buhari's time, he will come up and praise himself, how the economy, how he has solved security, progress security, how the economy was improving, how this and that, as against the real facts on the ground. And they have learned from it. They know that it works. Because one way or another, some people that want to believe them will believe them. They are supporters. Political supporters will believe whatever they say. But I think gut feeling,
because what you just said is, because my architect, the same thing, honestly, what you just said is right. It just reminded me. Surprisingly, my architect who resides in Abuja, you know him, right? Yeah, you know him now. Yes. So my architect who I was so shocked when he mentioned it 2 days ago. Two weeks ago. So, but that that Tinubu is actually working, and I think he's going somewhere. That was a 180 degree from what he used to think. I said, where did you get that record from? What are you talking about? You live in Abuja. What exactly are you talking about? So it actually, it just points to what you just mentioned now. That some people
exactly. Even those who are not in political supporters, Nigeria is full of ignorant people. There are a lot of people who don't know their left from their right. Whatever they hear, maybe the president or governor say they believe, or what they hear from the airways they believe. So, but my gut feeling is that the man knows exactly that the so-called reforms are yet to produce any positive result. The only positive result is he claims that he's raking in revenue. And we have talked about, I've commented on this so-called improvement in revenue on your show repeatedly. That is a mirage. It's a falsehood again. Because you are raking in revenue from taxation. Look, recently, you heard that there was a protest in Nepal.
We'll talk about that, Barrister. We'll talk about that. Don't go there.
No, I was just trying to bring the question in Nigeria, where they were saying, okay, we should do the same thing. And because of the 5% fuel tax that he wants to introduce, they have not stopped looking for avenues to tax people. Every day you get one avenue that they are looking for to tax, to increase taxation. And this taxation, like we said and pointed out repeatedly, is not coming from production. You are increasing the burden of the Nigerian people. If you tax the fuel, who is going to pay? It's we that buy the fuel from the pumps. The hope this thing will be passed. Dangote that produces the fuel will pass the cost to us, to the average consumer. So this is not progress by any sensible division. But you see, the Nigeria is so convoluted that the governors, some of them are happy they are collecting. Okay, if you are collecting 100 billion before, you are collecting 300 billion now. But nobody is talking about the value of that 300 billion. Tinubu himself has never talked about the value of the increased revenue, because when he mentioned the figures, ignorant people will just say, we are getting a lot of money now. They will not even ask where is the money coming from or the value of the money. They will just say, oh, Nigeria is getting a lot of money now. So that is the complexity there.
Yeah, but
it's below the surface.
Yeah, but he was actually addressing in international community. Okay, Brazil, rather, to be precise, but international community at large. You think they don't know either what we know or even know more than what we know? That everything he said.
Look, the IMF and the World Bank, they are happy because this is precisely the policies that have been shoving down our throats for long. They have got somebody that is willing and ready to swallow their policies, enforce them, and project lies. They are not talking about the... Now, after saying that, I remember when the Konjo-Iweala came, he said, okay, these policies, yes, they have done this, but now...
Yeah, because Konjo-Iweala is part of the establishment, global establishment.
I was going to somewhere. He said, yes, these policies are improving the economy, but now, he had a caveat, but now we have to improve the living standards of the people. So if what improvement are you talking about if it does not affect the living standards of the people? Is that an improvement? It's not. It's not an improvement. And there is no horoscope that will tell you that in the next 2 years, or even when Tinubu finishes 8 years, that the average, the lifespan or lifestyle of an average Nigerian will improve. There's nothing on the horizon to show you that there will be improvement in Nigeria's welfare.
Absolutely, I agree with you totally. All right, let's move to the next topic. All right, this next topic has to do with precisely what we just talked about right now. Not precisely, but close to what we just discussed. You remember the previous clip I just played? Tinubu said, I don't know if you noticed it. Is it that clip or something? I think I can't remember. But he literally said that we have met our revenue generation or projection or expectation. Therefore, there will no longer be loan. I don't think it's that clip. There's another clip or whatever where he said there will no longer be external loan. There will no more borrowing.
He said that they are not taking loans, which is a
now
lie.
listen.
Which
Now
is
listen to this. Now
a lie.
good. Now listen to this. On the 3rd of September, that was the last week. He mentioned this. 2025 revenue target met. No more borrowing, Tinubu says. Then on the 5th of September, just barely 2 days after, FG6 fresh 1.75 billion naira, billion dollar World Bank loan. Why is this man speaking from two sides of his mouth? I don't get it. On the 3rd of September, he said no more borrowing. On the 5th of September, a different thing. Just barely 2 days before the world was before his statement was digested by Nigerians and the media, this man came out again to begin to project the idea of borrowing $1.7 billion from IMF, from World Bank rather. So I don't get it. I'm so surprised that we'll still borrow more. I don't get, but what the hell is going on with this president? I don't get, what are they doing with all this? What do you think they are doing with all this money? Because all this money they are borrowing we're not seeing the results. We're not seeing the results. The opposite way, rather what Nigerians are feeling is the opposite of positive results. Everybody is passing through excruciating poverty pain as a result of poverty. So many deprivations in the society, in the Nigerian society. Yet they just keep borrowing. I've never seen such kind of reckless borrowing. I don't know if you have it, if it's on record that this man, Tinubu, is so far, this is just barely 2 years. Can we rate him to be the highest borrowing president ever? Do we have a record of? I don't know. I didn't expect to go this route. I would have just I would have done my research. Do you think we can actually tag Tinubu as the highest borrowing president?
So far, yes. He has outstripped Buhari in borrowing. But let me go back to the speech where he raised two issues. One, that they have met their revenue target. That is falsehood. The economy, the budget was predicated at about 41 trillion. Now, as at August, end of August, 8 months, that's more than half of the year. They had brought in about 20 trillion. So in what way can you boast that you have met your revenue target? They did not meet the target. So that is the first falsehood. The second falsehood is saying that there is no more borrowing. If you recall, I think last week or this week, the Speaker of the House of Reps raised an alarm that we have exceeded our statutory borrowing limit. He raised a serious alarm that Nigeria has.
We are going into that right now.
I'm just mentioning, and that we are still borrowing. You have just mentioned 1.8. There is, I didn't even know. I read somewhere that an outstanding World Bank loan of 4.8 billion is already, that was approved in 2023. Part of it was drawn down. Nigeria is supposed to draw down about almost $3 billion again. So these loans are coming in deluge like rain. Nigeria has not stopped borrowing. We are borrowing day and night. And nobody can tell you today the debt profile of Nigeria, because it is from left and right. We are borrowing from everywhere. multilateral institutions that charge commercial rates, as well as World Bank grants and other institutions. You know, grants are given at very low rates,
Yes.
but multilateral institutions grant loans at commercial rates. Those are one of the most excruciating loans, because in 2 to 3 years, the interest doubles the loan. It's virtually impossible to pay off those kind of loans.
That is
But we are
mortgaging
taking
our assets, national assets.
we are taking the loans. So a pattern of falsehood and lies is emerging from the speech of the government, day in, day out. And I don't see many people trying to expose this falsehood, these lies that are being spewed out in the public domain by even the president and his appointees. It's not difficult to see that there are clear falsehood and lies.